How you doing, guys? Welcome back to Herve's World. As promised, I'm going to do our very first tutorial. Kind of excited. So imagine you're going on vacation and the first thing they do is they tell you at the hotel, hey, do you want Wi-Fi? Well, I want Wi-Fi too, but it's going to cost you $35 every day. I'm not paying $35, and after this tutorial, you're not going to pay it either. So there's different kind of encryption. There's WEP, which is WEP, wireless encryption password. When there's WPA, and there's WPA2, wireless password authentication. So today our tutorial is going to be on WEP. So basically, WEP encrypts their packages before they're sent. Now, it does this in a four-step process. One, there's a 24-bit installation vector, which is randomly generated, and then it combines it with a pre-shared key that you created. Two, these two are created together and it creates a key stream. Okay? Then three, it takes the data that's encrypted with CRC. So CRC is cyclical redundancy check, and what it does, it takes the XORG and plus your key stream and then creates deciphered data. And the last step is unencrypted IVs are connected to the deciphered data and then it's transmitted. Well, the problem with WEP is this. The packets are not used properly. Every time you send a packet, it is given its own IV. But being that it's 24-bit encryption, it means it's only about 17 million possibilities. So an 11 megabyte transfer speed sends a packet at 700 packets per second, which means it's pretty easy to hack. So come with me, let me show you my setup, and let's get to cracking. To Amazon, and there's an adapter that I'm going to put in a link. It's called the Alpha Network. Okay? Now, this is a USB adapter. It's a long-range USB adapter. It does different networks. It does B, it does G, it does N. But this model specifically you're looking for is the AWS-036NHA. Okay? You can find this maybe 30 bucks. They're very, very cheap. I suggest everybody get one. So the first thing you're going to do is, the first command is startx. And what this does is enters the GUI, it creates and enters the network stack, and then it prepares the system for you. Now the reason why I like to use a virtual machine is very light. You can create it quickly. So the first thing we're going to do now is to make sure that our USB adapter is there. So since you're using a virtual machine, it requires you to, now a virtual machine is like this. Think of, you have a brain, but there's no arms or legs because there's no physicality to it, it's virtual. Now, our USB adapter is actually the arm. So a way to initiate it in a VM is take it out of the USB while the VM is up, and you put it back in. And first thing you notice is it came with this right here. So we have the Atheros adapter. So if ever you see in a VM that it's not seeing your adapter, pop it out, pop it back in. And now we're connecting. Okay, so now that it's connected, this is called a shell. The very first command you're going to do is, just like we get in a car, you want to start your car, you're going to start the adapter. And this is the command, airmon-ng start wireless LAN 0. It would help if I spelled. So wireless LAN 0 is the name that Linux understands for adapter. Hit enter, and guess what? You're getting a DHC client 3, so you can do kill, and you just put the number that's there, 1678. Hit enter, take it back out, pop it back in, hit the last, if you hit the up arrow, it brings the last commands, hit start, and guess what? It sees our adapter. Now, the interface we're using is the wireless LAN 0. You have to make sure the chipset is the Atheros adapter, so you can either use, I prefer, the Atheros adapter or the RTL8187. These are great for penetration. So adapters, USB adapters, Wi-Fi adapters, they listen. But this one can actually touch networks. It's very important. So basically what we did with airmon start wireless LAN 0 is it puts our adapter in monitor mode. And monitor mode is denoted by mon0. So first thing we're going to do is, say me and you were going to go, theoretically, rob a bank. The first thing we want to not do, excuse me, is go in the bank, no mask, look at everybody and say, give me the goddamn money, but you don't want to do that. So protection, smart, would be to put a mask on. So the first thing you're going to do is to do ifconfig mon0 down. Now before I do that, and make sure there's a space, if you look here, you'll see that it's flashing blue. But when I hit enter, it stops. Excuse me. And what this does is allows us to put on a mask. And how you put on a mask is this. Pardon me. Macchanger -M for Mac, and you can name it whatever you like. I like to put it something that I'm going to remember. If you're at Starbucks and you see somebody that's on a network while you're looking, if you pick that person's MAC address and you put it there, it's like the old cartoons that we used to see. Remember Bugs Bunny? When you play the cards, he was like, 1 for you, 1 for me. 2 for you, 1, 2 for me. Well, the router is not too smart. And what it's going to do is, if it sees, hey, you have the same address that I have, it already thinks you're on a network, so it's going to give you access. That's a trick. So that's for another lesson. So we're going to change the MAC. Now our current MAC of the computer is 00COCA84AB E2. And we faked the MAC 001122334455. So if we took it down, we changed it. Next step is take it back up. Mon0, and it's just simply up. So we're going to look here, and if you look, it comes back. So it's back in monitor mode with the new faked MAC. Next command, we're going to go look at routers to see what's around. So airodump-ng mon0 is basically saying, show me all the routers and route it to my adapter. And this is what we have. Let me make this bigger. So let's take a look. These are all the routers around us. So I have a couple here to test. Excuse me. Now you'll see there's a couple WEP. So let's break this down. Control C stops the session. So bssid is the address, the physical address of the MAC. Power is the distance that you are. Beacon is how many times your computer's talked. Data is how many times their computers responded. Packets per second, that'll tell you how many packets per second. What's important here is channel. You'll see the channel. This is on a 54-bit cipher. The encryption, WEP, WPA, some are open. And the ESSID is the proper name. For instance, this would be Herve's house, and then the address would be 123 Main Street, so make that correlation. So let's pick our target. So we have 2 WEPs, so I'm going to pick this one here. So you go and edit, copy. So then you're going to open a shell. So here we're talking to everybody. Now we want to specifically talk to that person. So I'm just going to shrink this a little bit. And there's a reason why I do this. So now we're going to do same command, airodump, which is a command to talk to routers. Show me, basically. Now it's -C. Now what channel is this on? This is on channel 1. So -C, 1. Now -W is, you're going to gather all this information and put it into a file. I make it simple. If it's WEP, I make it WEP 1, 2, 3. If I'm doing WPA, then it's WPA 1, 2, 3. So you want to make it something you can remember. Then it's -- whack whack bssid, and then we're just going to paste what we copied, and then you're going to point it to our adapter, which is mon0, and let's see what we have. Okay, so we're talking to that router. It's about 80 feet away. We're talking about 90 times. It's responding 16 times, 30 times. And this is the name, the encryption. So on here, we see 3 people on bssid, the network, station, which would be who's on it. So now, if theoretically, if we let this running, at the rate that it's going, in about a day or two, without doing anything, we would need this to be at 40,000 to have enough information to use an algorithm to crack it. But who wants to wait at this rate? We're talking this many times, it's responding to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to play with the router. Now, if we left it alone, it would get to a certain number eventually, but I don't want to wait. So to play with the router, the command is this, airplay-ng. And if you're not sure what commands they are, you just hit the button. Hit enter on that command, and we'll just cover real quick. Okay, so -0 is the authentication. So if I wanted to kick one person off or everybody off, it's denoted by a -0 or the auth. Fake authentication is you're going to fake authenticate to see if you can get on the network. Interactive play is another way of, hey, you're using interactive frame selection to see if you can go on. The one we're going to do now, which in my opinion is the quickest one, is the ARP request replay, where you're going to grab one packet and you're going to take it apart and put it back together, and you're going to replay that same packet, fooling the computer. It tries to help you. So the router does this. Hey, I'm a router. Are there any computers around? And it's going to say, yeah, I'm over here, I'm over here. And all it's going to do is going to give that packet just a little bit of information, and it talks back. So chop chop forge, another type of attack. Fragment, another attack. Cafe latte, that's where you're tricking the IVs. cfrag, make mode, and test. So for this, we're going to be using a 1, we're going to be using a 9, and we're going to be using a 3. So let's do this. We're going to open a new shell. Now I'm going to do airplay. We're going to talk to the router, -ng, -9. On 9 was to test the network. So -a, which is the bssid. And now we're going to say, hey, I'd like to test if I can go on your network. We hit enter. It says, hey, can I inject on you? It says, yes, injection is working. Found 1 AP. And the certainty is 100%. So now we can test. We're going to do the next one, which is test. And if we go here, so we did 9, test, 1, fake authenticate. So now that I could see, airplay-ng, -1, you have to put a 0, -a, paste. And you're going to do this. Hey, could I test the network? Yes. Could I authenticate on the network? Guess what? Authentication successful. Authentication packet request it acknowledged. So now we're going to do the ARP replay attack. So airplay-3-B. So ARP replay is 3. B, bssid. Now we're going to put H, and H is our adapter, so 00:112233 4455, and then we're going to put it to E. Now make sure it's a lowercase. Now the ESSID is actually the name of the network, which is 6PR, if I remember, QM, yes, QM. Now, and then we bring it back to our adapter, which is mon0, and hit it. Now, first thing we're going to do is you're going to see it interacting, but let me shrink this and look at here. What are you noticing? We're talking less and it's responding more. So a key thing to remember, you want the data to be at about 40,000 packets of information, IVs. And once it's there, then you'll be able to 100% over 100% get the password. So we'll wait a little bit. It's actually got to 10,000. So a couple things are a factor. One, the speed of your computer. You want the computer, I prefer to have a i7 processor. You can have an i5. I have Mac, I have Windows, I have a couple PCs, actually 3. But it depends on what you use. You can have distro on USB, you can have it on USB, you can have it in VM. I prefer VM. The link, I like to have different keys. So another thing, my antenna that comes with it is here. But you can also buy another one for about $3 more, which is a 19 decibel antenna. And think of it, it sees 60% more networks. So I'll put a link to this in the description as well. So while we're at it, we'll do this. I'll show you what the command is to get it. So now the command to crack is, I assume that you would know, is aircrack. Now dash right there. So we'll let it go a little more. We're at 30,000. Okay, we'll wait for about 35 and we'll see. Okay, that's about good. So we'll do -B. Now you can do bssid, which is there, and then you just do paste. Now remember the file that we were talking about? Now the format, it was WEP 123. Now in the format you have to do it, it has to be -01.cap. That's the format. It saves it in 3 different files, but this is the format of the files that we're going in to grab the data. And then we do enter, and let me maximize this. Look at that. So this is the password, but let's try it out. And it's as simple as that. That's 100% over. So very easy, quick tutorial. Next time I'm going to show you how to kick people off. And then we're going to attack WPA2. And you'll be well equipped to be anywhere and have Wi-Fi anywhere in the world. Once again, thank you again. This is Herve from Herve's World. And practice, but don't harm.